Thanks. So I have less than 5 minutes to tell you 5 ways that early mathematics is really surprising. First of all, it's surprising how deep and broad young children's thinking can be about mathematics. Take one example. Justin was asked, what's the biggest number, Justin, 5 or 8 or 6? And he said 8. And the interviewer was about to pass on, and he said, well, because 5 is like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6 is one more here. And then for 8, you have to go 2 more. He not only knew the sequence of numbers, he had that number sense, that quantitative sense, multiple representations of these kind of numbers. Second, surprising, is how predictive early math is. Early math is, hands down, the best predictor of later school success in a variety of studies. It's shockingly predictive. Early math is cognitively fundamental. Third, this is a surprise to many educators. We need to support them. In one study, for example, educators were shown a subtraction problem and said, your preschool kids are ready for kindergarten now. Out of your class, how many kids could solve that problem? The average was 1. They thought maybe 1 kid could solve it. No, 10 could solve that problem. So when we underestimate what kids are capable of, how can we provide challenging but achievable kind of task for them? We need to up our game in how much we share with teachers and the support we provide for them. Fourth surprise, we know a lot about how to support kids' early learning, how it happens. We have developed, Julie Saram and I have developed learning trajectories with research-based kind of levels of thinking. Just like kids crawl before they walk, walk before they run, when you have a certain mathematical goal, there's steps you take to get there. And we understand those steps, the levels of thinking through which kids pass. When you plan curricula, activities, professional development, with teachers understanding those steps, then they can actually start where the child is and give them activities that'll help each child get to the next level of thinking. Fifth, not only do we find that if you follow these kind of learning trajectories, you get real serious gains in early mathematics learning and thinking, but it also generates transfer to other areas. For instance, we found in NSF and IES-funded projects that not only do we get good gains in mathematics, but kids' oral language, separate from mathematics, grows as well. And we get transfer to self-regulation or executive function skills. So this is what we think is possible. Surprising things. Number 1, broad and deep mathematics. Number 2, it's amazingly predictive. Early math, kindergarten entry math, is the best predictor of whether kids finish high school and start college. Number 3, it's a surprise to too many educators. We have to educate them about what kids are capable of. Number 4, using learning trajectories is powerful. And 5, it transfers to language. So I'll end with one last story. Here's a kindergarten. His name was Andrew. I was interviewing him, see how much he had learned from our Building Blocks project. And he said, the question was, Andrew, pretend you're on the telephone and you're talking to one of your friends and they don't know what a triangle is. And he said, doesn't know what a triangle was. And I said, yeah, if he didn't know what a triangle was, what would you tell him? And he looks at me and he says, does he know what a rhombus is? Nobody had asked me that before, so it kind of threw me. And I said, okay, he knows what a rhombus is. Then it's easy. Take the top of the rhombus, fold it on the bottom of the rhombus, and that'll make a triangle, he said. And, you know, he should put it up on his wall because he really should know what a triangle was. This was very, very... And I said, okay, Andrew, maybe. But what if you didn't know what a rhombus was? Okay. Take a piece of paper, I tell him. Start in the top of the middle of the paper and draw a line straight down to the middle of the side. And then another line to the middle of the bottom. And then another line. And I did what you're not supposed to do in a clinical interview. I stopped him and said, to draw a triangle? And he looked at me kind of disdainfully and said, no, to do a rhombus. Then he can do what I told him to do already. So he did what mathematicians love. He reduced the problem to a previously solved problem. And then, most importantly, he showed what we want to see, this kind of motivation and engagement in young children, because at the end he says, is this going to be on my report to my parents? Because I'm doing really good. So that's what we can see if we follow the research in early mathematics. Thanks.